The story I'm about to share with you divided my life into before and after. After the events that happened to me back in 2005, I stopped sleeping peacefully at night and vowed never to return to Crowford, the small town where my grandparents lived. But let's start from the beginning. The year was 2005. My name is Oliver, I'm 16, and I live in a small town called Bar Harbor, in the state of Maine. I go to an ordinary school and have a few loyal friends. After finishing 9th grade, my parents decided to reward me for completing the school year. Or more accurately, they punished me for my bad report card by sending me to spend the summer with my grandparents in the countryside. An entire summer away from civilization, the internet, and computer games. What could be worse for a teenager? Still, there were some upsides. I had spent a lot of time in the countryside as a kid, so I had made good friends there. And so, the morning came when my dad drove me to the countryside. I greeted my grandma, shook my grandpa's wrinkled, bony, yet surprisingly strong hand, and went inside the house to unpack my things. While Dad drank tea with my grandparents, I quickly slipped past them and ran outside to find my friends. I didn't have to wander the street for long. Just 10 steps from the house stood Liam, a short, tan boy dressed in cargo shorts and a stained t-shirt. He was eating a roll with milk, which left him with a comical white mustache. "Hey, Liam. How's it going, sir?" I called out jokingly. Liam nearly choked in surprise and ran over to me. "Whoa, Oliver, haven't seen you in ages. How long are you staying?" "Ugh, my parents locked me here for the whole summer, so yeah." "Where's everyone?" "Where else?" "At the base," Liam replied. The base, that was what we called the meeting point for our group. To be more precise, it was a small shack nestled between two abandoned garages. We had built it last summer, put together a makeshift table and bench, and started spending our free time there. We played cards, hid from the rain, and sometimes even from our parents. I had plenty of memories tied to that place, so I couldn't wait to get there. Liam was all for it, so we headed toward the base. When we arrived at the base, I was thrilled to see Owen, a short, chubby boy with glasses, sipping Coca-Cola and playing with the bottle cap. "Oh, Oliver!" Owen exclaimed happily and ran to give me a hug. "What brings you to our neck of the woods?" I explained my situation and delighted him with the news that I'd be staying in the village until the end of summer. "How are you guys doing here? Anything exciting, anything new?" I asked. Same old stuff," Liam said, waving his hand dismissively. "We're just hanging out, killing time." "Well, this won't do. I just got here, and it's already boring. Let's think of something fun, like we used to. How about we go to the abandoned barn? We're bound to find something interesting there." "We'd love to," Liam said, finally finishing off his milk and roll. "But they tore it down this spring. A tractor came through, leveled it all out, and now it's the village head's garden." "No way," I sighed in disappointment. Suddenly, outside the walls of our base, we heard leaves rustling and voices. "Quiet!" Owen hissed, and we all fell silent, waiting to see if adults or some other unwelcome guests were coming. "Knock, knock. Can we come in?" The silence was broken by cheerful girls' voices and laughter. At the entrance to our hideout stood two slender beauties, Olivia and Mia. They were also part of our group. Last summer, Owen tried to win Olivia over, but she gently let him know he should probably cut back on the soda and pick up some exercise. Now, though, Olivia looked even more stunning than she had the previous summer. It had been a year since I'd last seen her, and her chestnut hair flowed gently with the lightest breeze of summer air. Her deep green eyes squinted slightly in the sunlight, making the dimples on her cheeks all the more charming. "Hello, Oliver, what's with the staring? I get that you missed me, but at least say hi before you start gawking," Olivia teased as she fell into my arms. Her familiar, unique scent of flowers, perfume, and something else that only she could carry filled my nose. Truth be told, I'd liked Olivia for a long time. but my lack of confidence and the long distance between us kept me from ever trying to take our relationship further. Besides, summer isn't endless, and we'd just have to go our separate ways again. Mia, on the other hand, Olivia's friend, constantly got on my nerves. That red-haired girl always managed to wedge herself between us and ruin every moment we had together. I stood up, walked over to Mia, and gave her a quick hug. The day flew by almost unnoticed in such cheerful company. Between catching up on news and cracking jokes, I didn't even realize when the sun dipped below the horizon and the evening air started to cool. We stayed there until late at night, sipping soda, eating chips, laughing, and eventually lighting a fire to keep the mosquitoes away. We talked about everything under the sun, or rather, under the stars. When I finally got home, almost at midnight, I was met by my grandma's gaze. She looked at me with a mix of reproach and warmth. "Are you going to eat dinner?" she asked. "No, Grandma, I'll eat tomorrow," I replied and rushed off to my room. That's how my summer would have gone if one evening our group hadn't gotten bored and decided to stir up some trouble. At the base, it was me, Liam, Owen, Olivia, and Mia. We were playing cards and thinking about where to go and what to do next. "Maybe we should play hide and seek?" Owen suggested. "Nah, that's kind of childish," Liam laughed. "Although, we could play hide and seek at the cemetery." "Where?" Olivia practically jumped. "I mean, I want some excitement, but not that kind." "Oh, come on. Regular hide and seek is boring, but at the cemetery, it'll be perfect. We'll meet at midnight and take turns hiding. One person hides, and the others search. Whoever stays hidden the longest wins." Sounds interesting," I said, backing the idea. Olivia just looked at me in shock. By nature, I was a quiet guy and rarely got involved in wild schemes. But this game felt like my chance to prove myself to Olivia, to show how brave I was and maybe even impress her. I figured I could help her out during the game and, build a connection. "Perfect," Liam concluded. "Then it's settled. Meet at the cemetery at midnight," he said before running off home. Left at the base were me, the girls, and Owen, whose face made it painfully clear that he was already regretting his idea about hide and seek. Mia gave me a mocking look, as if she expected me to chicken out or back down. But the decision was made, and we all went home to wait for the night to come. At midnight, I quietly got out of bed and opened the window. Sneaking out through the house was too risky. The creaky floorboards could easily wake up my grandparents. Climbing out the window was a much safer option. Carefully, I pushed the frame open and swung one leg over the windowsill. My foot found the bike I had thoughtfully left there earlier in the evening, and I stepped onto it. Using the frame of my trusty iron steed for support, I carefully lowered myself from the window and ran toward the gate. The cemetery Liam had mentioned was on the outskirts of the village and was considered abandoned. It connected the village to the forest, and the deeper you went into the woods, the older the graves became. The place hadn't been maintained in years because the village had a newer cemetery, and the old one was remembered only by the elders. When I arrived at the gate, everyone was already waiting for me. The atmosphere was oppressive and eerie. The sky was blanketed with clouds, and the moon only occasionally peeked out, casting faint light on the ground. "So, are you all ready?" Liam asked cheerfully. Olivia and Mia just clung to each other more tightly, while Owen looked like he wanted to protest. But before he could say a word, Liam cut him off. "Great. I'll go first. You count to 50, then start the timer and come looking. Stop the timer as soon as you find me." I nodded calmly and started counting aloud as Liam slipped through the large, crooked gate and disappeared into the darkness of the cemetery. 1, 2, 3. "Did you bring flashlights?" I asked, slipping the question in between numbers. "We do," the girls replied, and bright beams of yellow light flashed from their flashlights. Owen glanced at me awkwardly. 8, 9, here, I said, handing him a flashlight. 10, 11. I figured someone might need one, so I brought 2. 12, 13. It was already past midnight, the sky grew darker by the minute, and I was quickly approaching the number 50. 48, 49, 50. Let's go, I commanded, and our group of 4 started toward the cemetery. It's so creepy here, Olivia said, her flashlight beam catching on an old, weathered cross that had tilted with age. We'll find him quickly and head home. This is just too scary, Mia muttered, her voice betraying a mix of nerves and determination. I walked silently at the front of the group, sweeping the flashlight beam from side to side, scanning the area. About 10 minutes had passed since we started searching, and our initial curiosity began to shift into unease. We ventured deeper into the cemetery, moving closer to the forest. There wasn't even a trace of Liam. He's hiding well, that sneaky guy. Couldn't he at least rustle a leaf or something? Owen muttered through gritted teeth. Mia just clung even tighter to Olivia. Oh, what's that? Olivia yelped, pointing her flashlight at the ground near one of the graves. In the beam of light, a chain with a cross shimmered faintly. I stepped closer to get a better look. Isn't this Liam's chain? It looks new, like it's only been lying here for a little while. And the cross on it, it's just like his. It's definitely his, Owen confirmed. See, the clasp is slightly bent. Liam complained about how hard it was to take on and off. Damn, this isn't funny anymore. Why is it here and not around Liam's neck? Mia said, her voice a mix of irritation and clear fear. I think it's just one of his usual pranks to throw us off, I said. Here's what we'll do, let's split up. I'll go to the right, you girls take the left, and Owen, you go straight ahead. That way, we'll find Liam faster and get out of here. The girls immediately wanted to object, but Owen surprisingly backed me up, a reaction I didn't expect even from him. The sky was now completely covered by dark clouds, and without the flashlights, it would have been impossible to see even the path between the graves. So, we split up, each heading in a different direction. I didn't have a phone or a watch with me, so I couldn't say exactly how much time had passed, but it felt like an eternity. The graves started to blur together, all looking eerily alike, and with each step, my mind grew hazier, as if the darkness itself was seeping into my thoughts. But at some point, my foggy mind was pierced by a horrifying scream. A girl's scream. It was so sudden and shrill in the stillness of this dark night, like thunder from a clear sky. The gloom and haze in my head vanished instantly, and I sprinted toward the sound. The scream didn't subside, it only grew louder the closer I got. And then, I found myself standing next to Olivia and Mia. Olivia was trying to calm Mia, who was still screaming, pointing frantically at one of the graves. I shifted my gaze, and an icy chill spread through my body. Mia's scream suddenly seemed distant, my mind clouded again, and a hazy veil appeared before my eyes. Shaking my head, I tried to focus once more on the text carved into the gravestone. Liam Connor Miller, 1989 to 2005. My legs suddenly turned to jelly, and I sank to the ground. Mia had stopped screaming, but she was still trembling. What is this? Olivia asked, looking at me. I don't know, I stammered, my voice barely steady. It's Liam. At my words, Mia burst into tears again. What do we do now? Olivia asked, trying to stay composed, though I could see in her eyes that she was on the verge of breaking down. We leave, I said firmly, summoning every ounce of resolve I had. But what about Owen? Mia asked through her sobs, glancing around. Owen. I didn't even notice he wasn't with us, I admitted. I hope we'll find him on our way out. I helped Olivia lift Mia off the ground. Let's go, I said again, this time more resolutely. We walked in silence, listening to every sound. Only the rustling of leaves and the crunch of soil underfoot broke the stillness of the night. And there it was, the long-awaited straight path to the exit. Only the gate was nowhere to be seen. Are we sure we're going the right way? Olivia asked. I think so, I replied hesitantly, shrugging and continuing forward. Instead of the gate, there were old, leaning graves, one of which stood out among the rest. James Owen Carter, 1989 to 2005. I barely whispered, the words catching in my throat. I turned to face the girls. Mia clapped her hands over her mouth, screaming without a sound, while Olivia stood pale as a ghost. For a fleeting moment, the moon slipped out from behind the clouds, illuminating Olivia's frightened face and Mia's tear-streaked one. "What now?" Olivia whimpered in a defeated tone. I don't know," I admitted. My plan to come across as brave and cool was crumbling before my eyes. I had to make a decision, and I did. "Let's play hide-and-seek again." "Are you insane? Hide-and-seek?" Mia screamed, her sobs intensifying as the realization of our predicament set in. "Well, when we started playing, the exit disappeared. Maybe if we play again, it'll come back." "Oliver, I expected better ideas from you," Olivia muttered with despair in her voice. "But since we have no other options, let's try it. Count to 50, and Mia and I will go hide." All night, I wandered the labyrinth of the abandoned cemetery. I ventured deep into the forest, somehow found my way back, searched for Olivia, searched for Mia, and searched for the exit. But I didn't last long. Exhausted, I collapsed beside an old tree and fell asleep. Waking up from the cold, it took me a moment to realize where I was. The grass was damp with dew, mist hovered over the graves, and the sky was beginning to lighten, preparing for dawn. In an instant, the events of the previous night came rushing back to me, and I jumped to my feet. Ahead of me, at the end of the path where I stood, I could see the gate, the exit from the cemetery. Without thinking twice, I bolted toward it. Grandma and Grandpa were still asleep. Carefully, using the bike for support, I climbed back through the window and crawled into my room. I quickly took off my clothes, wiped the dirt from my feet, and lay down on the bed. I couldn't sleep. The graves of Liam and Owen kept flashing through my mind. And what about Olivia and Mia? I never found them. Lost in these thoughts, I didn't even realize when I drifted off to sleep. I woke up to the crowing of a rooster and the clinking of dishes in the kitchen. Carefully peeking out of my room, I saw Dad. "Good morning, champ," he greeted me. "Today marks the end of your sentence. I'm taking you back to the city." "What, already?" I asked, surprised. "But summer's not over yet." "I know, but some work came up, and I have to leave on a business trip. I won't be able to pick you up later, so I'm taking you back now. Unless you're not happy about it." "Of course, I'm happy," I replied hesitantly. "Just let me run and say goodbye to my friends." I wasn't running to the base. I was running to the cemetery. In the sunlight, it didn't look as eerie as it had last night. Stopping in front of the gate, I hesitated for a moment, unsure if I should go in. But eventually, I stepped onto the path. The cemetery greeted me with the same leaning headstones, weathered crosses, and among them were two fresh graves. Olivia's and Mia's. Dad took me back to the city. Since then, I haven't been back to the village. 3 years have passed. I'm 19 now, and I still remember every detail of that night. The thought of going back terrifies me, even though my parents have suggested it more than once, and Grandma and Grandpa have asked about my friends. How much longer I can keep this secret, I don't know. Every time I fall asleep, I see my friends calling me to join them.